Hi everyone, I'm Amit. I welcome you all to the From the Scratch podcast series. Today we will be discussing on digital advertisement, offline business, specific business categories, like how they can grow digitally and lot more all about purely business, okay, and its future. We have a guest among us who did not want to do a coding job and was ready to do anything else. Then he found internet marketing, wanted to do something of his own, went against his parents, friends, relatives, and now he's doing internet marketing full time. He's very happy. He's an entrepreneur and earning and also educating people how to grow like 7 digit, 8 digit, like work from home. They can earn, they can start their own business through digital marketing. So without wasting much time, introducing to the man himself, Mr. Srijan Bharadwaj. Hi, Srijan.
Hi Amit, thank you so much for such a lovely introduction.
Hope
And
you are safe
yeah,
and well in this pandemic.
yeah, I actually got COVID last month. I tested negative on 27th of November. My parents also got it. So yeah, now everyone is well. How are you? How are things
I'm
with
good.
you?
I'm good. I'm happy. Thank you so very much.
Awesome, awesome.
um,
So yeah, I
yeah.
actually checked your, podcast before coming on, and I saw that, you had done over 55 interviews, which is really commendable. Like 55 episodes. Hats off, man, to
Thank
your
you. Thank you.
dedication and commitment.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much. It means a
Yeah,
lot. And you're also into this journey and to providing value and help others.
absolutely true.
Yeah. So the very first thing which I would like to ask, and like many viewers maybe are curious, even but I am very curious. Like, what is internet marketing?
Okay, so that's a really good question, and not a lot of people ask this question. So you are one of the very few who have asked this question. So I'll start with digital marketing because that is easier to explain. Okay, so when we talk about digital marketing, we talk about social media, we talk about Facebook, Google, YouTube. This is what we consider SEO, SMM, SM, all of PPC. Okay, Yahoo ads,
Anything
Binge
related to
ads,
digital?
yeah, anything related to digital. That is called digital marketing. Now, the funny thing is that digital marketing is just 2% of internet marketing. Internet marketing is huge. Most people don't understand that digital marketing is a very small part of internet marketing. Just like you have, Google as a small part of digital marketing. Similarly, digital marketing itself is a very small subset of internet marketing. Internet marketing right now is huge. It's so vast that people have no idea about. And fortunately, like with the blessings of God, I was lucky enough to start my journey in the US marketing, in the US market, where I got introduced with digital marketing and internet marketing both. So I started with internet marketing first, and when I worked there, I saw that, oh man, this is something totally different. Like, internet marketing is anything that you can do over the internet. It's not just restricted to social media. It's not just restricted to Amazon or Flipkart or these e-commerce sites. It's so much more. And the fun fact is that people who are running ads on digital platforms like Facebook, Google, they feel that these are the biggest platforms, but these are only, like, big companies. They don't even spend money on these platforms as of now. And these platforms, they only constitute 20% of the cost, advertisement cost on the internet. There are other platforms, native advertisement, blogs, websites, forums, which are considered a part of internet marketing. Hundreds of opportunities to make money, be it freelancing, be it CPA, be it e-commerce. So that in its whole is internet marketing. It's really broad, it's really vast, it's growing at an exponential rate. And anyone who feels that digital marketing is huge, they have no idea what internet marketing is.
Exactly. It's a very deep ocean. We think that as you
Really.
told exactly. I was actually
Mhm.
shocked by knowing this for very first time that it's a 2%. Like the
Yeah,
remaining 98% will be crazy then.
yeah, it is. And the thing is that people in India are going to see this in 2023 when they see that, oh, like, digital marketing. So everything has a boom, and then there is a decline.
Yeah.
So when digital marketing will have its full boom and then it would start declining, then people would start to understand that there are other things other than social media and Amazon and Flipkart, and then they're going to explore these opportunities, because same happened in US.
Getting. So like they will explore first few things and at a peak, then it will get a saturation. Then people start
Yeah,
getting exploring others.
yeah.
Getting crazy. And like, so today also I got to know about there is a course you are doing. today, and I have registered for it.
Okay.
Yeah. And very happy and very curious about it, like what's going to be, because even I want to
Mhm.
learn about those stuffs. Mm.
Right.
Yeah. Coming to today's episode, it's purely about and I guess one more thing,
Mhm.
Srijan do regularly do conduct an online courses and a lot more stuffs. You can check
Right.
out his website. Link is given in the description. It will be very helpful, value added, and direct to the point, purely transparent. So
Thank you
Srijan,
so much.
yeah. So like for a business owner who's purely working offline and who is dependent on it, like he's just working offline. So what's your thought on this? Like what are the steps they should take, or what they're doing wrong? Like they must do digitally also, or they must
Mhm.
start leveraging digitally, or they are doing good where they are.
So again, I believe that I cannot answer this question on the behalf of people. People need to understand what they want to do with their business. So for example, I know a lot of people who are happy making 5 lakh, 6 lakh rupees a month in net profit with offline businesses, and they're happy. They don't want to go online. They feel that, oh, who wants to take so much headache in understanding, then finding the right agencies to build your website and this. We are happy with this. And it's a choice again. Like some people don't want it at all. Some people are seeing the potential and the possibility, especially the people whose businesses were affected because of COVID-19, like restaurants, cafes, and organic businesses, like organic product businesses. So they are seeing that digital marketing, digital platforms has a lot of potential, and you can reach out to a lot of people. So the first thing I would add in here is that everyone has to choose what they want. And if you are clear that you want to go for digital marketing, that's good. Everything has its pros and cons. It's not like you come into digital marketing and you are suddenly going to make a lot of money. You're going to have its own cons. You're going to first go through a lot of shitty agencies and companies who are going to promise you to transform your business and make you a crorepati, and then you will find that most of them were scams. So again, it's a part of the whole process. And if you choose that, I want to go for here, then the potential again is huge. So right now I'll give you an analogy, Amit. So for example, if you run an ad on Facebook, again, let's say for a offline business owner who has a clothing business, okay, so he is going to be able to show his ads to 1,000 people in just 300 rupees, which means he is able to show his ads. How much does that mean? I think 30 paisa. So yeah, 30 paisa per impression per person. That is the potential. Okay, it's huge, it's humongous. Secondly, scalability is there. So again, what happens is that when you have a shop, if you want to scale traditionally, what you would do is you would branch out. You would have franchises in different areas. If someone is in Delhi, he can open 10 different shops in Delhi. That's like at one way of scaling. The second way of scaling is that you can open shops in different cities, in different states. So you branch out from Delhi to Bangalore to Mumbai to Chennai, and then again you start opening more shops in there. That's another way of scaling. The third way of scaling offline is that you can add more products. So if someone is selling shirts, he can add t-shirts, he can add hoodies, he can add all of these products. So this is what happens in the offline world when it comes to growing a business. But when it comes to the online world, all of these things can be done online. You don't have to set up your shops in different cities. You don't have to pay the rent, the electricity, the utilities, the staff. All of these costs is avoided simply because you are just reaching out to the customer directly. You don't need to put advertisements in newspapers and then compete with other people who are going to like use their own contacts. Here it's a free equal platform for everyone. If you are paying money, they are going to let you run your ad. So that is the biggest possibility I see here. And thirdly, again, apart from scalability, I would say that the reach and the visibility plus the virality that is there on the internet, it's crazy. So for example, we all have seen Yashraj Mukhate in August. One of his songs, Rasode Mein Kaun Tha, that got crazy viral. And that one song, it got him from 15,000 followers to 2 million plus on Instagram and YouTube. And his total spend was zero, like all organic. So this is something that you cannot get in offline businesses. You cannot get it on radio, you cannot get it on TV, you cannot get it on newspaper, because you are not creating any content asset. On the online world, on the digital world, you can create a content asset and then you can push it. And similarly, forget about Yashraj Mukhate, like me and my own business partners, we have been creating a lot of reels recently. So one of my own reels, it went from like 0 to 1 lakh views. Now it's almost at 1.5 lakh views. I got almost 1,000 unique Instagram followers from it. One of my partners reel, it went to like almost 3.5 lakh, 4 lakh views in just 1 week. He went from 26,000 to 29,000. So this is something, virality is something which was never available to the general public. So offline businesses have the chance, have the opportunity that if they have a very unique product, if they have a very good product, and they can create a content asset that capitalizes on the product essence, the product story, they have a very strong chance that some of their content can go viral. And if it goes viral, they're going to get a lot of organic reach at zero cost. So that is the third thing I feel that, offline businesses have an edge, like again, scaling, virality, and more and equal opportunities. So that's why I believe that if you choose that you want to take your business online, you should definitely take these 3 points in consideration.
100%, totally crisp to the point. And I agree with you. As the person, he do got numbers, but maybe we
Mhm.
don't know. But back end, he may got industry connects also.
Right.
He got few good deals also in the industry, from music industry, the Yash Raj.
Mhm.
And talking about the
Right.
second thing about the offline business coming online. When we
Mhm.
say building digitally or build your brand
Mhm.
online, your or start being awareness online, the business owners, their mentality is like they also need to start selling online. So digitally does not mean only selling. You can do brand awareness also. For example, your store is at a location, only that area you can market, like 2 kilometer, 3 kilometer, you can just
Right.
advertise. So instead of doing
Absolutely.
paper advertisement, you can do these advertisement. You can see which is effective, go with it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's a great point. Like, the selectivity of what you want, where you want, whom you want to show your ad. It's huge. In fact, just to add on there, you cannot even just customize with the area. You can choose whether you want to show your ad to John, who has been divorced twice, has 2 kids, drives a Mercedes, makes $80,000 in US, is interested in football. And that's the kind of customization that is available
Yeah.
with the online platforms, which was never there with the offline platforms.
Exactly, and that is beautiful. That is detail marketing. That is beautiful. And even
Yeah.
Srijan, like actually, I run a branding company. So
Oh.
yeah, so I help business owners in building their brand end to end.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they have
Mm-hmm.
just an idea, they can come. We will nurture everything from logo, brochure, business, social media,
Mm-hmm.
digital platform, all these stuffs we do. So
Okay.
yeah, that's why I have few specific questions on this, because the thing is
Yeah.
like they are like, no, we don't want to do those things and all. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, people who are open minded and who have creativity, if they can
Right.
open up soon, like they can take the first come mover, they are the
Right.
advantage. That's it. Because this will
True.
happen, maybe not today, but maybe
Hmm.
after a few years, they will start seeing that these stores are
Hmm.
also coming online. They'll start, but
Hmm.
then it's not that late, but a little late.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I have one question that
Hmm.
as I'm running an agency and you also
Hmm.
know about digital advertisement,
Hmm.
maybe you also
Hmm.
work on internet marketing, all stuff. What
Hmm.
do you see the growth in the coming years? Like, as you told, digital marketing will be getting little saturated and other
Hmm.
opportunities will be growing. But how
Hmm.
about the agencies who are running companies? So
Hmm.
how about these opportunity will grow? How you see?
So, in marketing, it's a word called hockey stick growth or parabolic growth. So I see that happening. And again, I'm a very rational person. I know the pros and I know the cons. So one thing is going to be there that, when this wave of new companies start coming in, like it has already started in the edtech space with Byju's and White Hat Junior. So when similarly the service industry starts booming, a lot of people are going to be there, and a lot of people are going to be making a lot of money because now other people are also coming in, like the business owners are also be coming in. And now what happens is when the business owners come in, it also creates a FOMO, like fear of missing out or peer pressure. So for example, if I have 5 friends and 3 of them are running like online advertisement or online branding, and now when I talk to them, I'm going to be in a FOMO. Oh, he's doing, I'm not doing it, so let me try it out as well. Whenever there is FOMO in the market, like Warren Buffett says that whenever there is greed, you should be fearful. That is where I feel that the service industry is going to have a challenge in the coming years. So whenever someone starts with a service based business, you have to be very clear that you are not in the business for today, you are in the business for the next 5 years. And market never goes up, it also comes down. So if you plan accordingly, like if you focus a lot on having a very crisp and clear product or service, and if you are very clear on what you are delivering, impeccable, client results, you are having a great track record, you are having social proof, you're going to be building what we call as a stronghold, that even if downtime comes tomorrow, you're going to be still there in the market and you're still going to flourish. And that is very important for any service provider, because for a service provider, a lot of people provide customized services, a lot of people provide, one-to-one services. It's very important that you are already creating a lot of these assets for yourself, a lot of this proof for yourself, because tomorrow other people are going to come in the market, they're going to try to compete with you with lesser price, more deliverables. And if you have these social proofs, if you have all of these assets, if you know how to leverage them, you can be the undisputed champion. And the way I see it is that, so if you are starting out today and you're working with companies who are just starting out, another way of scaling for service based companies is that they start working with higher clients, higher budget clients, bigger clients. If you're working with teams of 5, like businesses who have 5 employees as of now, maybe you go to businesses who have 10, then 20, then 50. So that potential for a service based business is huge, because they're directly dealing with B2B, and B2B has higher average order value as compared to B2C. So that is something that I definitely believe, if anyone is starting a service based business, even we have a service based business like animated explainer video service.
Okay.
It's one of the most profitable things, high margins, very low maintenance. And if you can deliver good services, if you can create systems and processes, run everything smoothly, it's like sky is the limit. You can scale it to infinite levels.
Okay. So, for example, Srijan, there is a company, a medium-sized company, who just started
Yeah,
doing digital presence, and
yeah,
micro company. And there is
right.
another company who did good branding and digital presence and have a good
Hmm,
budget. So, how
hmm,
can the micro business owner compete with the
hmm,
competitors with the little budget? Like the big budgets, like how can they
hmm.
compete?
I'll give you a real example. Okay. So first of all, it's a mindset shift. So there is this company, like we have our own animated video service. Okay, there is this company in Dwarka. I won't take the name, but this company is a part of a US based company. They also create animated explainer videos, and what they do, Amit, is that they create videos starting from $5,000 per minute. We create videos starting from $500 to $1,000 or $1,500 per minute. Now, immediately when we started working with them, like we started working in the same market along with them, we started seeing that, oh, we can't compete directly with these companies. It's like you go to an elephant and you have a broomstick and you start beating the elephant with it. Elephant will not get tired, you will get tired eventually, because an elephant just needs to swing his trunk and you are going to go far away. So what we realized was that this company has spent 5 years, 6 years, 7 years in this industry. They have a team of 80 plus people in just Delhi. They have a global team of 200 plus people. It took them so many years, so much hard work. Their marketing budget is like, almost 1 crore rupees a month. We can't compete with them. Now, again, I can either take it as an ego issue that I'm going to compete with them, I'm going to like either boom or bust, or I can be smart about it. So what we did was we reached out to this company. We said, hey, you have already got a lot of team, you have already got a lot of people, same business model like us. How about we collaborate? How about, when you are outsourcing the stuff, you have your own team, but how about you also give some work to us, and we'll give you better prices than what we offer to the customers. So for example, if you are charging someone $5,000 per minute and we are charging $1,500, how about for the first month we give you $1,200? If you like our work, we can charge $1,500. It will save you a lot of time, because we also have got a smart team, we also have got our own office, and there is going to be no overhead cost for you. So you're going to be saving 20 to 30% margins. And that company really liked our idea. So in the next 6 or 8 months, they referred us over 20 projects. So that is something, again, like, we found a win-win situation. So whenever people tell me that this is my competitor, so a lot of people today, when they again see, let's say, big agencies, graphic designing agencies, logo designing agencies, that these are my competitors, I always ask them that why do you want to make it a win-lose situation? Why not make it a win-win situation? Why not create an opportunity where they win and you win?
Yeah.
Because if think about it, like Amit, if today I'm competing with Disney, versus if I just put Disney's name on my website, that Disney is a client of mine, which has more benefit for me, of course, the name on the site. So that is the thing, like just working with this company, we got so many big companies referred to us who have never chosen us otherwise, and we got fantastic clients. So that is one mindset shift, I would say. Secondly, if you still want to go and compete with this company, then I would say that you need to change your entire packaging. You can't be saying that I do the exact same shit that they do, because then there is no uniqueness. And For example, you go to a, you have, let's say, COVID symptoms, and there are two doctors in your society. One just started his practice today, one has started his practice 10 years back. You're going to go to the more experienced one because the trust is there.
Yeah.
Similarly, if you're selling the same shit that they are selling and you just started out, more people are going to trust them. So if you
Yeah.
can create a different offer, if you can package it differently, and you can be the first one in the marketplace, then that gives you a lot of edge. And with services, it is easy to productize it and create a different packaging and then offer it to people. Like ClickFunnels is the best example. It never came across as a like funnel builder tool. It always came as an entire package in itself, where you get the education, the tool, the community, and the whole 9 yards. So that is what I feel. Like create a different positioning, create a different package, and that's your moat. Like
That,
that's your edge.
that's a lovely insight. So it's like collaborate and grow together. That's
Yeah.
a easy thing. So
Yeah.
like in the coming future,
Hmm.
is e-commerce website, is it
Hmm.
important? Because as I see, there are several other like WhatsApp business started
Hmm.
where you can just small business
Yeah.
create catalogs,
Yeah.
WhatsApp pay, share the
Yeah.
catalog, you'll get the money, you send them. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like such, there are many other automation tools and some softwares are coming. So having a personal e-commerce website, do you recommend? What's the thing?
Again, it totally depends on what your requirements are. So, for
Mhm.
example, if an offline business owner wants to come who has a shirt business, he needs an e-commerce website. If you have a lot of products, online courses, online training programs, maybe you don't technically need an e-commerce website. You just need a few landing pages to host your
Yeah.
courses and to list your sales pages and all of it. And if you have any kind of apparel business or any kind of physical products, you need an e-commerce website. Right now, again, most of the people, they don't know. So for example, people outsource e-commerce website development to companies who charge lakhs of rupees, but they're not realizing that you can build the same websites or you can outsource the same stuff to Shopify developers who can do it. So I also feel that once people start getting aware, like Eugene Schwartz gave us this 5-step model of the market. Like people are unaware about the problem, then people are aware about the problem, then people are unaware about the solution, people are aware about the solution, and then finally people are aware about your solution. So right now I see people in stage 1 and 2, which is 90% of the market. Slowly when they start going to the other stages, they are going to realize that they need an e-commerce website. And again, uh, one thing I've seen is like most people don't need a website, but they create one because of FOMO. Because everyone is creating one, we should also have one. And that tendency is very natural to kick in for any kind of product or service. So I would say, like, if right now in India, every day 100 websites are being created for e-commerce, in the next 2 years this number is going to go to at least 5,000 to 10,000. That's the potential, like 50 to 100x.
Mhm. That's nice.
Yeah.
So, like, as this comes, it's all about the
Mhm.
awareness game. Once the awareness
Right.
is right, and then the services and everything's come to the places, the business will grow and all this stuff. But the important thing is like, what will be the future of selling?
Right.
Like,
Like selling as in selling
how
what?
how like I recently I'll give you example on
Hmm.
Facebook, or there is
Hmm.
a mobile application which an Indian company created where
Hmm.
the person can go live and can sell. He can sell. It's like we see in television, in like भैया 500 मिनट बाकी है 500 यूनिट बाकी है जल्दी खरीद लो like such
Hmm.
time left बाकी है. So like such on
Hmm. Hmm.
Facebook I've
Hmm.
seen that companies are going live, they are selling the product, and the link in the
Hmm.
description, you can go and buy. This is a slot
Hmm.
time and this is the thing which mi those
Hmm.
companies did, but here it's all live.
Hmm. Hmm. So again, really good point, really good observation. From what I'm seeing, from what you were trying to say is people are using fake scarcity and fake, all of these strategies. Like they are saying that these many spots left versus in digital, there
Pressure,
are
they're
no
pressure.
limit on that. Yeah. So am I getting it right?
Yeah.
Okay. So see, again, like I said, it's about positioning. So I'll give you an example. Okay. When we do these workshops, how we position ourselves is that we say we only have 500 spots because that's what our GoToWebinar account lets us have.
Yeah.
Now we are not saying that it's because of us. We are saying because of the account. Secondly, we ask people to attend it live because we say that there are going to be no replays for this. And then there are no replays. So if you're quoting something and if you're standing by it, then you are building your credibility.
True.
Now we get a lot of show operate on our webinars because if we tell people that there are going to be no replays, there are going to be no replays. And people know it. Similarly, when we talk about that, if we have a program, let's say digital dukandar program for e-commerce, okay, we tell people that only 20 people are going to get access to these bonuses. Then only 20 people are going to get access to those bonuses, not more. And only, like, when people say 50 copies left, instead of saying 50 copies left, we only said you are going to get these many copies. After that, the bonuses like would reduce. Or if you're going to get access to 12 calls, you would only get access to 6 calls, and we maintain that record. So that is how we use the real life scarcity. And you always have to get creative. So when most of the people start copying us, we start creating something else, because that is evolution. Like if people are going to say, I have 20 spots left, you probably should think about, oh, who can I bring in today as an expert? And I can say, this expert is going to take one session. That is the exclusive, like exclusivity, exclusive factor.
Got
So
it.
that is very important. Fakeness is not going to take you in the long game, because Indian people are smart.
True.
And most of the entrepreneurs don't feel that Indians are smart, but Indians are smart. And that's like a very dumb mistake, thinking that the audience is not smart, because people are smart
People
and
are
we are the audience. Yeah.
exactly. That's a well statement. Like people think that's a myth, but that's a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well put.
Let's discuss now. There are a few questions. Let's discuss about
Yeah.
the lead generation, how effective it is,
Sure.
and it's your expertise also, one of the expertise. So let's discuss also the next going to be huge platform. Like now, people are towards more towards Instagram. Okay. So
Okay.
which platform has good potential to be like huge tomorrow?
YouTube. For lead generation, YouTube.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. So again, people are focusing on Facebook and Instagram right now. Even we run most of our traffic from Facebook and Instagram. But the thing with Facebook and Instagram is that one, uh, you know, it has almost got a lot of people running the same kind of ads. So it's causing a lot of banner blindness, or not even ads, but promotional activities. Everyone is copying each other. The second thing is that Facebook changes its algorithm very aggressively. It keeps on pushing down the engagement if you're generating leads organically. It keeps on increasing the cost, banning ad accounts, which impacts if you're doing it through ads. Versus on YouTube, what happens is that you can put an ad and YouTube is very lenient with your ads. Secondly, YouTube recently came with live streamings. You can go live on YouTube as well. You can stream whatever you are doing. So YouTube is focusing on this, and I have recently started experimenting between Instagram and YouTube. And the watch time that I get on YouTube, the average duration that I get on YouTube, is 3 to 4 times higher than what I get on Instagram. So which means my audience is almost like same. Only Instagram audience is coming on YouTube as of now, but they are sticking with me for 3 to 4 more times. Like if someone sticks with me on Instagram for 3 minutes, they're sticking with me on YouTube on 12 minutes. And we know that Amit, today is attention's economy. Like if I can hold people's attention, if I can make them invest their time with me, they're going to be sooner or later either going to buy stuff from me or going to be my like loyal fan and brand advocate. So that is why I feel YouTube is going to grow, because the ad platform it's massive. YouTube is the biggest video search engine, which most people don't understand. Facebook and Instagram are social media platforms. They are not search engines. YouTube is a search engine. If we have to search about how to record a podcast, we don't go on Instagram and search how to record a podcast. We go on YouTube, go on Google. Similarly, secondly, again, live streaming is there. Just like it was there on Instagram earlier, you could go live. It's there on YouTube now. People are taking a lot of advantage. And that's why I feel, lead gen is going to be higher. And third, stability of the platform. Google and YouTube have been showing ads since over 20 years now. That, streaming is one thing that is getting a lot of boom. And other than that, Google and YouTube are very stable and consistent platforms. Even if you start running your ads, you're going to see consistent results. There are not a lot of ad bans. Secondly, YouTube has come up with all of these stories that stay up to 7 days, the
Yeah.
posts that you can make as a channel. So YouTube is pushing the creators to go all on, like all out and get their audience there. And I think I read it on YouTube's roadmap that their goal in India is that by 2025 they want to have one, I think 10 million or 100 million creators in India, like content creators. And they want blue collar content creators, which means how to be an electrician, how to be a plumber, how to be a carpenter, how to be a doctor, all of these as well. So this is something which is huge. Like Facebook, Instagram have never prepared for any of these sorts, because they are essentially a social media platform. YouTube is a search engine, and that is why they're thinking about all of these things, because they know sooner or later people are going to have these problems as well. Because people are now also, Amit, moving to DIY furniture. I know a lot of friends who are, getting the furniture at their home, then assembling it. They like doing it. People are going for DIY. Like a lot of my friends are painting their own houses.
Yeah,
They get all of the colors and then they are enjoying the stuff because lockdown ho chuka and everyone is at home.
yeah.
So that was also one thing that pushed people to do a lot of these things. Then again, when people are learning new skills, it's how to learn XYZ. They go on YouTube. So that's why I feel YouTube is going to be the next big platform for lead generation.
YouTube is always like into how to.
Yeah.
If you have anything, we can go how to. And Google and YouTube both are like collaborative. If you're searching something on Google, they'll see the exact snippet. Like he will tell us from the
Uh-huh.
video, this is the timeline where you'll find that question answer. So
Right.
it's a beautiful thing. And one more
Yeah.
thing is he came into recently into YouTube Shorts, but now he's not
Right.
more into picture. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess he's working on some plan behind, but he may come
Mm-hmm.
with a big boom. I guess I'm just guessing this.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah. Expect the unexpected.
yeah. Srijan, you on LinkedIn?
Yeah. I don't use it that much, but for our animated video service, our team uses it.
Okay. So like,
Yeah.
have you like organically did you generate leads? Like, did you got good connections?
Again, I did not do it myself much on LinkedIn. My team did it for our animated video service, and yes, we got great results. So my whole methodology is that I create a basic strategy that is going to be similar on all the platforms, including YouTube and LinkedIn or Facebook and Instagram. So, for example, a basic approach is find the right target audience, reach out to them, start a genuine conversation, don't be spammy, then introduce the pain point, and then bring in your like call to action, which is book a call or we'll send you a proposal. So that is my basic funda, that these 4 or 5 steps are going to be same on all the platforms. So that is the approach on LinkedIn that our team uses. That first, find the right set of audience. LinkedIn has a lot of filters through which you can use, like you can go for first, second and third level connections, then you can choose the location, you can use Sales Navigator to see the company size and a lot of other stuff. So if you have got the leads, then you need to start connecting with the right leads. So what we usually focus on is that we go for people who have been very active on LinkedIn in the last 90 days, people who had a role switch, people who are posting content. So then we start connecting with them. And when we are connecting with them, it's not just random, hi Amit, how are you? It's about, hi Amit, I watched your podcast episode number 55. I loved what you said about this particular thing. It totally resonates with me. And I would love to know your thoughts about this, which is a question related to your podcast episode, which really gets us a lot of responses, because people love when other people come and tell them that we loved your stuff. And we have questions because humans have a inherent nature of sharing. So once the conversation starts, then we also introduce ourselves that, hey, we have a animated video service, this is what we do. I saw that you don't have a video on your website, or your video is 3 years old. How about are you open to the idea of trying a different video, because this can help you in XYZ ways. And that is how we generate the leads. So that's the basic like strategy.
Getting building a personal connection first instead of direct
Yes.
sales.
Yes.
So like Srijan, there are last three questions, and these three
Uh-huh.
questions are to be like to the direct to a specific
Oh,
business
okay.
category. So just
Okay.
assumption like I have a, okay, just assumption for a clothing companies for a clothing brand,
Hmm. Hmm.
offline or online anywhere. So they started
Hmm.
creating a digital presence. Now
Hmm.
how they can generate leads and parallelly build a brand digitally.
Okay. So when you say leads, do you mean sales or just
Sales.
inquiries? Okay. Fastest way is start running your ads on Facebook, because again, see, 95% people are non-impulsive buyers. 5% people are impulsive buyers. India as a country has 135 crore people. 5% of 135 crore people is at least 6.5 crores. So 6.5 crore people are impulsive buyers. Even if you remove like put filters of 25 to 55, that is almost 1.5 to 2 crore people. So when you are running your ads directly for your e-commerce store to these 2 crore people, they have a high chance of buying something immediately. And right now, again, in e-commerce, if you have a good product, the cost per purchase is going to be like 100 to 500 in between that. And
True.
a lot of our clients who are into the Indian e-com space, they are getting consistent ROAS of 10 to 20x, which means if they invest 100 rupees, they get a sale of 1,000 rupees to 2,000 rupees. And if you have a decent product, it's going to cost 500 to 1000 rupees. So one or two sales on every 100 rupees you are spending. So that is the fastest way, I would say. For brand awareness, again, create a good video talking about your brand, showing a couple of customer testimonials, showing your product, showing a little bit behind the scenes. And you can use any of these formats. You can use a mixture, you can use the combination. And a very simple brand awareness video of who you are, what you are doing, what your goal is. If you have a social cause associated with that, that should be the whole focus, and run a video view campaign on that. Like put it on, let's say, 50 rupees a day or 100 rupees a day, and let it run. Even if it runs on 100 rupees a day, by the end of the year, it's going to be what, like I think 36,000 rupees, 36,000 rupees in the entire year for brand awareness, and you can reach out to at least 5 crore people in these 36,000 rupees. So
True.
that's going to be the second thing.
That's guys. So here the two things. The one thing which I got is
Mhm.
the lead generation, like the cost of acquisition, customer acquisition
Right,
is very low compared to the offline.
right.
And the second business category, if we take a rice company who have just built a brand or who just want
Hmm,
to come, who was just,
hmm,
so first he want to grow locally, like
hmm,
from I am from Hyderabad, so in
hmm.
Telangana or somewhere in
Right,
south in Tamil Nadu only. So because
right.
in South rice, many people do eat rice. So
Hmm,
they just want to build their brand and advertise and get
hmm,
sales. How can they
hmm.
do?
Right. Okay. So again, if you are selling rice, have you heard this quote? Sell the sizzle, not the steak.
Sell the?
Sell the sizzle, not the steak.
Could you elaborate?
Okay, so what it means is steak is a very famous dish. Okay, so what it says is sell the sizzle. So for example, if you're selling rice, okay, now you don't sell people rice. What it means is that you show people what is possible with rice. Okay, you show the benefits of rice. So for example, you can show rice balls, you can show biryani, you can show pulao, you can show how the same rice can be used in 10 different ways, because this gives people the option to choose. If
Mhm.
you only tell people I have rice, you are blinding me. I only have this product, like I only have this iPhone. Okay, but what do I do with this iPhone? Versus you tell people that you can do 10 things with this iPhone. You can use a camera, you can use a calendar, you can make calls, you can click pictures, you can do FaceTime, you can do 10 different things. Now people are suddenly open to the realms of possibilities that these are the things I can do. So similarly, if someone is selling rice, he should create that visual picture in front of his audience, that these are the 10 things you can do with rice, and that gives people a lot of options. And when people have options, they make a purchase.
Got it. Got it.
So that is what I would recommend. Like, show different stuff that is possible, and let people choose what they want. And if they don't purchase, retarget them.
Got it. So like you mean like we need to tell them and show them the benefits instead of again direct
Yeah,
sell.
the features.
Yeah, the features. And the last but not the least. So the last question
Uh-huh.
is like the third assumption. For example, a local educational institute. Same
Okay.
situation. How they can get their students and market.
Okay, great question. So for local educational institutes, again, the fastest way is by, so these days I on YouTube see an ad by Texas University, and what they do is the students who have graduated from Texas University and they got really great packages and really great jobs, they ask them to create a small video testimonial, like talking about their overall experience in Texas University, inviting other students to check it out. And I feel that's the best way. If a college teacher comes today and says about his university versus a student who just graduated out of that college or school or university, he talks about the same experience. Kids and parents are more likely to first trust this guy, and then they would talk to the teacher. So if any institution can create a small video, like user experience video from their pass out, and they can run ads on it, that would get them a lot of inquiries, because that person is going to speak directly to the target audience, and that's what people want.
Got it. Got it. So to people, the viewers or the students, they can totally relate there. They can get the understanding. The parents maybe. That's a good.
Yeah.
Why I picked these three industry and why I'm getting the information
Mhm.
from you, because I will be uploading this on Insta and YouTube also. So someone
Ah,
from specific these niches, they may be helpful.
okay.
They may be getting some info from you.
Right.
That's the thing, because most of the people from these industry, they don't know how to do. So they can get some
Hmm.
insights from you. They may
Right.
contact you also if required any
Sure.
help.
Sure.
So yeah, that's it. So it was lovely. It was beautiful to the point. It was, if I can tell you, this was one of the best episodes which I've done till now. It was so informative,
Oh,
so good. It was really so good. Like I have learned so many things. So
okay.
thank you so very much, Srijan. So, hope so. I did not bore you,
You,
and the questions did not bore
no,
you.
no, not at all. It was really a pleasure to be here, Amit. Like, I loved your questions. I loved how prepared you were. And yeah, like, lovely talking to you.
Same here, man. Thank you so much. I will end over here. So that's it, guys, from my side. See you in the other one. Until then, take care, keep smiling. Bye bye from my side and from Srijan.
Thank you so much. Bye.